Teki Brezza, the city-bred SUV.
Match number 50 of IPL 2024, and it's a mouth-watering matchup that we have in front of us. Table toppers, Rajasthan Royals, with 8 wins in 9 games, up against Sunrisers Hyderabad, who've been so high-flying, but just been grounded a bit in their last 2 games where they had to chase. What can we expect? Build up to the game starts now on Maruti Suzuki Arena. Presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by JBL, where we have the company this Thursday evening of Mitch McClenaghan, Dasgupta and Wasim Jaffer. Good evening, gentlemen. All set for what promises to be a cracker. It's match number 50. So I thought we'll start by revisiting our own 50s over here. One IPL 50 on this couch as of now. Wasim, who was it against?
Pretty easy to remember. One of the best teams in the IPL, that is Chennai Super Kings.
Oh, absolutely. A 50 of 33 balls at that, back in 2008.
Delightful.
Deep, your first 50 for India came against
South Africa.
And where was it?
Port Elizabeth.
I will add a point to your season tally if you can give me the present name of that venue.
No, I can't. Even if I know, I can't pronounce it.
Keberkha, as far as I'm aware. And Mitch McClenaghan, I thought, why leave you alone? You have a first-class 50. Which team did it come against?
Northern Districts.
I'm sure you remember everything, every ball of that
Yeah,
inning.
I was not out at the end. I was filthy with my number 10.
73.
Oh, number 11, yeah. He was smashing as well. He was on 80.
73.
And I said, bro, they brought
He outscored you.
Yeah, I said, well, they brought Ish Sodhi on. We've been taking him down, and they brought Ish Sodhi on just before tea. And to the long side, I said, bro, it's one more over. Let's get to tea and make them come back again. And he decided to slog out.
I'm so sure there's a podcast waiting to happen just reliving that innings, but we'll save that for just a bit.
At least 2.5 hours worth.
Yeah, 73 not out, and your team won by 71 runs. So well done, Mitch McClenaghan. And now let's focus back to the IPL. We're into match number 50 and the points table. How's it looking? It's looking really good for Rajasthan Royals. 16 points has always been enough to make the top 4 in the IPL. 18 has almost always been enough to finish in the top 2. That's how close Rajasthan are to securing a top 2 spot and not just a top 4. You've got KKR and LSG tied at 12, and those 2 teams meet each other in Lucknow on Sunday evening. But for the moment, Sunrisers Hyderabad, they are one of 3 teams on 10 points, along with CSK and Delhi Capitals. And everyone is just hoping to rack up the points as we inch closer to the playoffs. Generally, in a 10-team IPL, 16 has been the magic number. We've had 3 seasons, the last 2 and 1 back in 2011, and in all 3, the 4th team qualified with 16. How do you see that table shaping up 20 matches from now?
I think if the teams get to 16, it's more likely than not they'll qualify. It's more likely to qualify. 14, it's an outside chance where the net run rate will come into play, but I don't see that happening. I think teams will get to 16 somehow. 14, it looks like highly unlikely. In an 8-team tournament, 14 was the number that you are looking at. But in a 10-team tournament, I think 16 is the number you need to reach as early as possible.
Yeah, we've got some fascinating permutations over the next little while, don't we? I mean, if Sunrisers lose tonight, they remain in the same spot. Then you look at Chennai. If they lose the return fixture against the Kings, who have won 5 in a row, Punjab beaten CSK 5 times in a row, they remain in the same spot. And then if Mumbai upset KKR at Wankhede, then nobody's moved. And all of those lower teams have moved up 2 points. So, barring obviously Rajasthan, but it's really, really fascinating that this next 3 or 4 games is going to let us know whether 16 is going to get you in, or are there going to be teams trying to fight for that 14 points with a good net run rate?
I doubt 14.
I know it's unlikely.
Yeah,
I know it's unlikely.
Yeah, but there is a possibility. Yeah. And it'll be awesome, isn't it?
Oh, I mean,
if there's one team qualifies with 14,
Yeah.
that means there'll be so many of these upsets and stuff. That'll be unbelievable, the next 20-odd games then, yeah.
Yeah, and it is usually this phase between 50 and 60, which can be so decisive, at least in the last 2 seasons, where a few teams have seen their campaigns derailed, a few have ensured qualification in this phase. So that is something to keep an eye out on. Sunrisers, of course, are hoping to climb upwards. one great thing has happened for them. They get to bat first this time. They have won the toss, Pat Cummins winning the toss, and I don't think he took half a second to decide that Sunrisers will bat first. But before we get to team news, let's focus on the other side of things. Rajasthan Royals will be a buoyant camp, not just because of their wins already this season, but the fact that now 3 of them, including the captain, find themselves in India's squad for the T20 World Cup. Sanju Samson has got the nod from the selectors on the back of what is proving to be his most consistent IPL season. He's never had a problem starting IPL campaigns. That Samson in the first game of the season is a stat that's often spoken about, and he continued doing that this year, began this season, as he tends to always, with a half-century at a brisk rate. But it's what's happened ever since, which has been so impressive and clearly done the trick with the selectors as well. Wasim, Sanju Samson, this season, is it fair to say it is a transformed batter, and that is what has led to this World Cup inclusion?
He's definitely transformed himself. There was no, there was quality in him all the way, but the problem was taking that responsibility. He would start on a high and then obviously fizzle out as the tournament progressed, and that was a trend for far too long. But this season, you could see a very, complete change in him. That responsibility as a captain, the way he's finishing games, the way in last season or seasons before, he used to play, atrocious shots to one of their best bowlers. He will take them on. If I can name, Jasprit Bumrah or Rashid Khan. But this season, he's playing that percentage cricket. He's playing that first 20, 30 runs, and then he's exploding in the end, and that's the reason why he's finishing games. So that's a good change to see, and I hope long it may continue for him.
If he's going to fail, it's going to be this game, because Rohit failed.
Yeah, it's
Rohit failed, Surya failed, Hardik failed, Ashdeep failed. Who else do we? Who else? Jadeja failed, Dubey failed. So we've got to continue the trend, right?
everyone who's been picked in the squad has not had a good game. But I feel, and I'm not giving any of you clues for the impact zone, this is the game where it changes. In Chahal, Samson and Jaiswal, I think this is the game where it changes. But just back on Samson, usually when batters have that approach change, which Wasim talks about, and try to show a little more stability, it reflects in a big climb down in the strike rate. But is the most impressive fact that Samson is getting these consistent returns while still striking over 160?
I think he's a much more matured batter. That's how I'm going to put it. I mean, as Wasim mentioned, there was never a doubt with his ability, his potential, but that consistency and being matured enough, as Wasim said, to pick the right bowler, the right situation. The shot selection has been, kind of questionable in the past. But now it seems, I think he's obviously matured. He's grown in confidence. He's picking the right bowlers, the right conditions. And it's just unplayable, because I'm just looking at those middle overs, what he's done. And that's phenomenal. That's like unbelievable numbers that he's got. And I think that's one of the reasons. I think he sees himself not as just an impact player, but somebody maybe on the lines of what Virat's been doing over a few years, even though bats at number 3, but he tends to finish games off and not just sees himself as a top order batter, but also a finisher. So I think it seems to be getting into that kind of a mold where he comes in at 3, but he also sees himself as a finisher.
Yeah, great points. Really good points. I think what we've also seen, we spoke about Rishabh Pant and why he's going well in that Delhi side, and I think it's because he's got Fraser McGurk at the top, who's absolutely flying. Then he's got Tristan Stubbs below him, who's in form, and I think the same kind of effects happening with Samson. Now Riyan Parag has really come into his own, become a really good attacking middle order batsman. There's no real pressure for him to push the run rate. If he's feeling like he hasn't got the pace of the wicket, he doesn't need to press it so early, because he knows he's got Riyan Parag behind him. He's got Josh Butler and Jaiswal, who's now got into some form above him, who are doing well. And then he also knows he's got Hitmeyer and Rodman Powell. So there's no real pressure on him to actually win the game, if that makes sense. He doesn't have to force the issue to get a strike rate up, because everyone behind him and above him can also generate a good strike rate and not get the team into a hole.
We brought up shot making and shot selection quite a bit, and it's something that reflects when you look further into Samson's numbers so far this season. You look at the first 20 balls that he's faced, And there is a marked difference in how aggressively he's going after bowlers. He was almost going for aggressive shots 40% of the times in the last 2 seasons of the IPL. That's below 30%. And much more impressively, Wasim, the control while making those shots is reflected in the fact that he's only got out to them twice.
I mean, that's the reason why he's getting the success, because he's not playing with fire at the early of his innings. He's a terrific boundary hitter and 6-hitter. So even if it takes a little bit of more time, I mean, if you just look at the last game against Lucknow, he was run a ball 20, if I'm not wrong, and then he ended up, getting that big score with a strike rate of more than 150, 160. So he can cover it up. He can hit, and that's a big ground. Lucknow is a big ground, and he was hitting sixes easily. So he can afford to do that. He's not somebody who had to go hard from the start, and that's the change he's brought in his game. He's taken that risk down, and that's why the consistency has come back.
Right. So that is what has changed for Sanju Samson, and the reward lies with his first World Cup selection for India. But now, pivoting back to the game on hand, Hyderabad winning the toss and choosing to bat first comes as no surprise. Why not? Or why is it not surprising is exactly here. They have been a different beast altogether, scoring at nearly 12s, batting first, and the chasing had brought the 2 or 3 back-to-back defeats and 3 of their 4 defeats in all. Absolute no-brainer at the toss.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I mean, looking at those numbers, absolutely not. And it's quite interesting, those numbers. Generally in T20, it's the other way around, right? You want to chase down, you have better numbers when you're chasing. I guess it's got to do with the kind of batters they have and their mindset. I think they're a lot more comfortable batting first without the scoreboard pressure and batting more freely. And and that's been quite evident. And I won't be surprised if they go on to score again another 200 plus, 220, 230, maybe even 250.
Yeah, when you start with 200, that's
I mean,
too
that's
low
where you start from. That's the starting point. Then you finish wherever you want to.
Okay, you have another 18 odd minutes to figure out what scores you are predicting for this innings. Take your time while we take our viewers through Hyderabad's team. Are there any changes in the Hyderabad lineup? There are a few. There's an inclusion for Marco Jansen. Hasn't featured since the first game of the season, if memory serves me right. And Anmolpreet Singh, who had come in as the impact batter when they chased in their last game, is in. But the big move there is no room for Aiden Markram.
Yeah, Aiden Markram hasn't scored the kind of runs that is expected from him, and that's why they probably forced forced Anmolpreet to come in. He's had a good season in the domestic. He got an opportunity in the last game, got out on the first ball, but I can understand that why that they did that. They've left out Jaydev Unadkat and they brought Marco Jansen, I think, which is a good move. Because he can bowl up front with the new ball, even though he's played at the start, didn't get the same success. But I think it's still a very good team. Probably Mayank Markanday would come in the second half as the impact sub. But I think it's a good team. And like you have said, they are a different team altogether. I would say that Abhishek Sharma, he needs to take up that responsibility a little bit more, because Travis Head is going to play the same way, no matter whether he's batting first or second. But Abhishek probably need to get those 30s or 40s into, probably a 60s or 70s. He's been batting really well. That will probably put a lot less pressure on Henrik Klaasen, I feel, because it depends a lot on those two guys and Henrik Klaasen.
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? You come up against one of the best bowling units going around, and you actually take some experience away from your batting unit and try and bolster your bowling unit. So that in itself is quite an interesting option, and what it lends thought-wise for myself when I look at that is that they're really concerned that if their batters miss out, that their bowling unit isn't up to being able to defend and take early wickets. So that would be the reason that Marco Jansen has been included in that side, is they want a bit more of an attacking weapon at the top, so they can actually try and be a bit more defensive with their bowling unit. Well, take wickets and be defensive and not just rely on them getting a big score.
And I also think that surface would be a red soil one. They have two kinds of surfaces in Hyderabad. That would be a red soil one with extra bounce, and that's where Marco Jansen's bowling comes into the picture. Secondly, that also kind of elongates the batting order as such. So Marco Jansen batting at, 8, 9 maybe. Yeah. So So you've got Anmol Preet and Marco Janssen at the back end of the innings. So I think that would, there you go. I mean, you've got batting till 9. So that's a lot of batting there. So yeah, I think that makes sense. And in terms of, like Wasim mentioned, Jaydev not playing, and you've got Marco Janssen, he's especially with the new ball, is a wicket-taking option, a little more than, let's say, Jaydev.
Yeah, but just as the counter, if we look at that lineup once again, we know that Sunrisers ideally don't like to have Klaasen batting early on. They want to save him and ensure that he's there in the back 10. All of a sudden, if you lose your openers from between Anmol Preet, Nitish Kumar Reddy, Abdul Samad, Shahbaz Ahmed, not a lot of experienced Indian batters there, and that when you're facing the best power play attack in the league. So, do we see a slightly different approach from the openers? Will they be more guarded?
No, I don't think so. Knowing
that was a joke question, right? Nice one, Yash.
that's their X factor, Sunrisers. So they'll stick to that no matter what happens, and they've accepted that they're going to lose a few doing that, and that's how they need to approach. They'll go hard, and once that power play or half of the power play goes in their favor at the start, they put the other team on the back foot. And that's exactly what they want.
And this playing 11 or the batting 11 reminds me how England approaches T20 cricket. So they bat deep. They might compromise a little with the bowling, but they make sure that if they're batting first, they score 20-25 runs extra because of the bowling unit. So I think it just reminds me, that kind of a team setup and approach reminds me how England kind of approached T20 cricket.
Right. Let's take a look at Rajasthan now. How are they lining up for this one? Any changes there? No changes for Rajasthan Royals. Joss Butler has been on the impact bench quite a few times when they have been chasing. So you'll expect him to come and join Jaiswal at the top of the order when Rajasthan chase it down. Now with the knowledge that Butler will not be there for the business end of the season.
Yeah, I see Cadmore's there on the bench. I guess if they go well with the ball, say they rock and roll Sunrisers, we could actually see Kohler Cadmore
Why not?
come out and play tonight. I'm saying they're going to have to bowl him out for 140, 150 to take that risk. But he's an explosive player, and they need to start prepping.
Absolutely. I mean, they're almost on the verge, right? Eight wins. They need one more to kind of confirm. It's almost kind of confirmed.
Yeah.
So why not get whoever is going to replace Butler in the playoffs or whatever? Why not just get him in now? Starting to get him now. Or whatever, maybe now, if not this game, maybe from the next game onwards, and makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And that is going to be an important consideration for not just Rajasthan, even KKR. These two teams have an English opener who's been so key to them getting the kind of starts they are, and they now know that they won't have them in the playoffs. So once you have that element of comfort, give your backup openers as many games as you can.
Yeah, you have to. Once you obviously want to qualify, you need to get into that first, second position. Because you get that extra game. So probably they'll go with Butler in this game. But if they win this, rest assured that they'll probably go with Kohler Cadmore. And so will probably KKR, because you need to look at the picture ahead.
Yeah, please, if you're listening, Rajasthan, don't open with Kotian again. Okay, bring Kohler Cadmore in, please.
What about the third opening option?
Ashwin?
Ashwin.
No, please. Just go with Tom Kohler Cadmore. For all the RR fans out there, please do that.
We will make sure the message is sent across to them if they haven't seen it already. Ashwin, enough on his batting. He has a task at hand with the ball as well, because Ashwin and Yuzvendra Chahal, while they are experienced spinners, they are up at a venue which has not been kind to spin at all. The games in Hyderabad have seen scores in the range of 250, 260, 280, so it comes as no surprise that spinners have taken some tap. Big challenge lying ahead for both.
I won't be surprised if he bowls the first over, Ashwin, against Travis Head. I would be very surprised if he doesn't. So that's a matchup for me straight away. But yeah, it's not an easy pitch for the spinners to bowl on. Let's be very, very honest. But you've got two spinners who've got all the experience, who've got a lot of variations, and obviously, the smartness as well to back it. So it'll be quite interesting when we say spinners haven't done well. This is a different breed we are talking about, these two.
Ashwin has been away from the wickets, but you'd consider that move that Deep talks about, because it also allows you to save some overs of Sandeep for the death where there could be damage.
Yep, I like it. It's the right move. to make, but then you've got two genuine swing bowlers. And if that ball doesn't swing in the third over when you're bowling Sandeep or Trent Bolt, you take a massive asset away from those two guys. And I believe Sandeep has the ability to get a Travis Head out with that ball moving away if they go with that split field. And I still see him as a wicket taker for Travis Head. So they might have to park Trent Bolt, who's always been a first over bowler, if you wanted to go Ashwin first over.
So let's say if Ashwin doesn't bowl the first, let's say in the first 4, 1 over in the first 4.
Yeah,
I think it's a great option.
I think you're bang on. I think it's a great option. Yeah. And yet, ideally, in an ideal world, if you if you had a different lineup, in terms of swing bowlers, you'd probably go Ashwin first over. Actually, you're right. You probably would go first over anyway. But will they do that with two genuine swing bowlers who are still good options? Travis Head.
Ashwin is better than Will Jacks for sure.
Will Jacks, I think, has more wickets this season.
Yeah,
only
but the only thing you want is Ashwin to be in that attacking mindset.
Yeah.
I feel sometimes in the IPL, we've spoken about it, he gets into that defensive mindset and he just look to contain runs. That's what you don't want to see a bowler like Ashwin do, especially at the start of the power play.
Well, if he's getting the first over, that's his MO, isn't it?
Yeah, and the idea is
Travis Head out.
Yeah, and I'm sure he would be told the reason why he's given the first over, not a 4-run over, but the wicket of Travis Head.
Please.
Yeah.
The wicket of Travis Head is, of course, big, but when you look at 6 hitters against spin, there are a few in the Sunrisers lineup, including Head's opening partner, Abhishek Sharma. If we go back to that game where they made 125, I think the overs of spin that came up against Sunrisers in that power play were taken down by Abhishek. So it's not like he is any easier to bowl to if you throw the spinner either.
In fact, Travis had the 270 game. His 50 came quicker than Travis Head's.
Correct.
Right? I think Travis Head broke the record with 17 deliveries or 18, and he finished it with a ball, extra ball.
Right. And Travis actually spoke about it after that game. He said the combination that they've got at the top is brilliant because people want to bowl spin to Travis, and then Abhishek takes it down. So it's a great combination. It's just Travis has got to get off strike if they go Ashwin at the top.
It's almost a bit similar to what happens with KKR, where oftentimes Narayan and Salt will change strike based on the matchup that's in front of them.
Yeah, and Travis Head generally looks to go square of the wicket. He uses that slog sweep, whereas Abhishek is more straight down the ground. So it's hard for the bowlers to obviously adjust. And Abhishek is an outstanding spin hitter. He's hitting best of the bowlers. I have seen him hitting Rashid Khan and the others who batters have found it hard. So it's tough to bowl spin if you've got somebody as good as Abhishek batting.
That other spin destroyer on that graphic in Heinrich Klaasen, he comes up later. Yuzi Chahal is the man you bank on?
Yeah, look, that's enough. There's so many matchups in this game which are just mouth-watering. It really is. It's some of the best hitters in the game against some of the best bowlers in the game. And, you've got likes of Bolt and Sandeep, who's in great form, Ashwin Chahal, Avesh, against some of the serious players. So, Heinrich Klaasen hasn't taken spin down as well this tournament as he has previously, but doesn't mean that he won't do it tonight. So I'm actually just trying to steer you guys away from Heinrich Klaasen for the impact play. Chahal's going to get Klaasen out tonight. Second ball.
Yeah. But I guess Klaasen's got good numbers against Chahal, isn't it?
He does, right from the time.
I can still remember that 2016 pink ball
2018 tour of South
2018,
Africa.
sorry, not 16, 18.
Yeah.
That was the first time I think I saw Klaasen batting against spin, and he was absolutely brilliant. And he hasn't stopped since.
Yeah. And that came against Prime, Chahal and Kuldeep,
exactly.
taking down South Africa and that. We focused a lot on the Rajasthan batters. And there are a couple of them also in that spin hitting graphic, so we will touch upon that later because Sanju Samson and Josh Butler are among the bigger 6 hitters against spin as well in the league in the last few years. But Josh Butler, when he does come out to bat, will first be faced with Bhuvneshwar Kumar, which is quite an old classic. We're talking about all these matchups which are all newer, but Butler versus Bhuvi has been one of those intriguing matchups for several years, Wasim.
I mean, Bhuvi has got good numbers against few of the good batters. And Josh generally doesn't like bowlers who swings the ball. We have seen him struggle a little bit with the in-swing because he looks to throw his bat outside the line. And Bhuvi knows that. So those couple of overs at the start of the power play are going to be very, very crucial.
The difference, though, I think, is that a lot of those wickets would have come when we had prime Bhuvi. This season,
he's
not been among the
Yeah,
wickets.
they haven't seen Bhuvi swing the ball as much, and that's been the issue. And again, as Wasim mentioned, someone like Josh Butler, he loves to hit through the line. Anyone who's swinging a bit would fancy his chances, and that's where I think Bhuvi's got those numbers. But obviously this season, Bhuvi's not at his 100%. Haven't seen him swing the ball as much, so it could be a different ball game.
There's a bit of a contrast when you see someone like Sandeep Sharma in the other camp. He is also someone who relies on the swing with the new ball. Why is he enjoying it so much more compared to what's happening with Bhuvi?
Oh, airspeed, potentially. A little bit more time for the ball to move. I think sometimes as well, your release can just be a little bit off, and that could be the case with Bhuvi. And, a lot of the times when he's been bowling, it's been second innings and teams are coming after him. Generally, your swing bowlers seem to dominate a little bit more in the first innings where players are trying to figure out the surface. There's no score on the board. So you haven't seen Sunrisers go out and get 250. So the batters aren't coming out thinking it's an absolute road, and he can kind of work his magic. So when guys come out and be a little bit more aggressive to him, there's also that fear element of getting a little bit too full. So as soon as you start going a little bit too full, that swing, you give the ball less time to swing. So his lengths have probably been a little bit more defensive because the batters have been going so well.
All right, enough setting up done. I hope you guys have also in the back of your mind done your calculations. Mitch has already started playing poker here. So it is time to enter the impact zone. And since it's been a while, we'll begin by taking a look at the season leaderboard. And let's see how Mitch and Wasim and Tom and everyone is faring.
Brilliant. I'm happy.
This is the primary leaderboard.
Yeah.
We know it's only
So
fair
this is the top half of the points table.
So Deep's below me. Sure, you put him on there to make me feel good.
We are having two separate brackets going on here. Okay. The ones who have more than 10 appearances come on this one.
Thank you.
The others come
Thank you
somewhere
very
else.
much.
This is Deep's table, which is of interest.
Not that bad.
In your fleeting appearances, you've landed quite a few outrageous picks.
Yeah.
3 outrageous picks landed in what I can tell you is 5 appearances before today. That is a strike rate Mitch McClenaghan wishes to have.
Yeah, it's true. And what I can tell from both of those tables is that left arm opening bowlers suck at this game. Poor Irfan.
Irfan has 2 appearances.
It's just not cut out for it, are we? We're actually not, I think a lot of bowlers are smarter than batters, but we're not kind of showing it at the moment.
Well,
you said it.
You have landed an impact zone win just 24 hours ago. So I wish to see more confidence from you, Mitch. And that's a notable jump on the points table, I'll tell you. 10 games back, you were in the 1.7s. You're into the 2.2s.
He's also sitting in the right
on the
place.
positive juju, I'm on
right.
Tom's seat as well.
Into your picks for Rajasthan versus Sunrisers. This starts with batters. Mitch, you won yesterday, so you do not
I'll go last, that's fine.
And Wasim, we'll go with you, Wasim.
With me, I'm going to go Henrik Klassen.
Your game didn't work, Mitch. Sorry. Deep batter for you.
I'll go with Abhishek Sharma.
Abhishek Sharma.
So I will take...
Travis Head.
I'll take Travis Head.
All right, Sunrisers batters done.
Yeah.
Expect to see some Rajasthan ones in the wildcard. Bowler, Mitch first.
Oh, okay. I will take Trent Bolt. Why'd they do that when I've got Travis Head? That's dumb.
One way or the other, you'll be happy. Wasim, bowler.
I'm going with Yajwinder Chahal.
Oh, no. I was going to say
Chahal, and that means Deep. You
Geez, a good one. Who do they have? Trent is gone. Yuji's gone. You know what? Natarajan.
Natarajan. Okay, and wildcard starting with you, Deep.
I mean, he's not there in the batting 11, right, Natarajan? Was he there?
Natarajan is in the lineup.
He's in the lineup.
He's there
Okay,
anyway.
so,
Yeah.
It's a good pick.
Okay,
So now wildcard pick, starting with you, Deep.
Wild card pick. I'm gonna pick. Oh God. Jeez. A wild card pick would be Josh Butler.
Mitch.
That's a great pick. Sorry. It was aerial. I thought Trent was going to get my batter out straight away. I will go Sanju Samson.
Sanju Samson
No,
for Mitch.
he's got the curse as well.
And
The
Wasim,
World Cup curse.
I'm going to go Riyan Parag.
Riyan Parag. All right. Interesting.
Oh, he dropped it.
Yeah,
He actually dropped it.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, Mitch McClenaghan. No live updates on this show. So we will go into scores and outrageous picks. Mitch, you can go first.
I can't believe that's the second time Riyan Parag's dropped an easy catch off Trent Bolt in the first over. Anyway, okay, we'll move on. Now the luck's on Sunrisers' side. They're going to get 256.
Oh, wow.
It'll still only be their fourth highest of the season. So, and that's not the outrageous.
No, that's not the outrageous
that's not
pick.
outrageous.
The outrageous pick is that Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma will both score 40 in the first 8 overs.
That's not
Both
outrageous
would
at
score
all.
40 each
Yeah.
in the first 8. So there'll be obviously 80 plus.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I can pick that as outrageous
They've
because
both got to be over 40.
That's not
Sunrisers tend to
outrageous,
score
is it?
80 in the first 6.
That's standard.
Oh, come on.
Both of them have multiple 50s in the first 6.
Okay.
So
Abhishek Sharma will hit 40 off 18 balls.
Abhishek 40
I'll
of
take
80.
that. Thank
okay.
you.
Deep. Score and outrageous.
God, I'm going to go with 228.
228.
Random number, anyways. 228 and okay, and I'm gonna say they're gonna get Ashwin picking 2 wickets, would that be outrageous?
I think considering he has 2 all season,
Yeah.
I think it qualifies.
Yeah, does it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
He's gonna pick Travis Head.
2 or more wickets for Ashwin. Okay. Wasim in.
221
All right.
and Yuzi to pick 3 wickets.
Chahal 3.
Thank you.
I think we can take
You guys are good. Oh no, Charlie, you've picked Charlie. Sorry, I thought I was.
All right. I think that's about it. I didn't pick mine, so I'm quickly going to say that I don't like the fact that no one's picked Yashasvi Jaiswal. So Yashasvi Jaiswal, Pat Cummins, and Sandeep Sharma. Those are my picks.
That's a good 3. It's a good 3.
All right.
You'll
We'll leave it there.
you'll do better than Runner.
Yeah, we should have a separate leaderboard for that. We'll get that up soon. Thank you, gentlemen. It's been a fun start to the evening. Let's pick up the conversation at halftime and see where Sunrisers Hyderabad rather finish, or Rajasthan Royals manage to hold them to. Be sure to join us then on Maruti Suzuki Arena. Presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by JBL. Download the ESPN Cricket for mobile app. It will have you covered through the Sunrisers innings, which is usually followed by a lot of stats pieces with records tumbling all around. See you then at halftime.
All new hot and techy Brezza, the Citybird SUV.